Recording in progress.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's not on the sheet, Joe, to turn on the microphone.
I forgot to put that down.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Positive Living Center on March 30th, 2025. This is, I want to welcome everybody. Is there anybody here for the very first time? Hi. Would you mind standing and telling us your names and anything else you want us to know? Within reason, of course.
My name's Early, and my friends Sandy and Nancy and Scott have talked about this, and we thought, well, we'll come and check it out.
All right, great. Well, welcome.
And I'm Craig Miller. I'm lucky to have this woman here. I'll get it first. Yeah, we just thought we would try this and see, what it's like. We had heard good things, so.
Well, great. Thanks for being here and welcome. Well, I want to say welcome to all the people who are on Zoom with us this morning. Anyone there, LJ, that appears to be for the first time? Okay, thank you. Well then, let's get rolling. The theme for the year 2025 is remembering, and the specific topic for the month of March, of which this is the last Sunday where we're going to hear about enlightenment. So with that, we start off with meditation, with a song that goes into a silent meditation. Welcoming Warren Cox as our musician today. Thank you, Warren, for being here. So Warren will play a bit, and then we'll go quiet, and I'll try to bring us back to the room gently. Let's begin to return our awareness to the room, to the sanctuary here at the Positive Living Center. As we do that, let's reflect on what got us here today. What is it we're after? What are we looking for? Why are we here? Let's know deep in ourselves the Divine Spirit is always available and always responsive to what we focus on. Let's appreciate the rain, the sound on this lovely metal roof, and so it is. Thank you, Warren. That was lovely. Slowed my mind down. All right. Next up is our spiritual thought, and that's going to be provided by Patti Hummel.
Let's get set here. There we go. Good morning, everyone. How about this rain? I love it. I just love it. So our topic this month has been enlightenment. I don't know what to say about enlightenment. I'm not enlightened, far from it. But I've tried. I have tried. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, "Borrowing knowledge of reality from all sources, taking the best from every study, science of mind brings together the highest enlightenment of the ages." That's what I like about this place. It's this attitude of acknowledging that there are many spiritual paths. There are as many spiritual paths as there are souls on this planet. And every one of you, everyone out here, even the new people, every one of you has come to this moment on your own unique spiritual path. The late Ram Dass, who authored Be Here Now and Grist for the Mill, he said that he said the spiritual journey is individual, highly personal. It can't be organized or regulated. It isn't true that everyone should follow one path. You have to listen to your own truth. And as I have gotten to know a lot of you, my fellow travelers on the path, I'm always amazed at how life conspires to bring us all to this humble little building here in the Sierras. We're all tucked away up here. And we got here by following our own path. And here we are. And so it is, right? Before moving up here, I lived in the Bay Area and I attended the Center for Spiritual Enlightenment. I didn't get enlightened, but I did learn a lot. Reverend Ellen Grace O'Brien is the founder of it. And basically the teachings are very yogic in nature. She was a disciple of Reverend Roy Eugene Davis, who was a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. So it was great, and like here, I got involved, did a lot of music, I was a soloist in the choir, and I loved it, and I took classes, and I learned about yogic philosophy, and Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras, and the Bhagavad Gita. It's all really good stuff. But when it comes to enlightenment, Reverend Ellen said something that I always remembered. She said, "The ticket to enlightenment is not transferable. A teacher can't give it to us. We do it on our own." Basically, the path of enlightenment is yours to undertake. You got to walk the walk, talk the talk. And that's not always easy. But that's what we at the Positive Living Center are here for. No, we don't provide enlightenment, but we provide support along your path. However far you have come, or however far off the path you may have strayed, and truth be told, you never stray. You're just consider it trailblazing. I went off and did this for a while, but you never really strayed. I was reading a book here by Stephen Levine called A Gradual Awakening, and it's about meditation and getting to enlightenment. And he even has a chapter in here. It's called Snaring Enlightenment. And he talks about how, saying you're aiming for enlightenment. You want to be enlightened. You want. I remember John was talking about when he was meditating, he expected to see the glowing light, and all of a sudden you're enlightened. And it doesn't always work that way. In fact, most of the time it doesn't work that way. So I think the point is that chasing after enlightenment is probably not going to get you there. I found a poem that I'd like to share with you. It's by a guy named John Wellwood. And he says, "Forget about enlightenment. Sit down wherever you are and listen to the wind singing in your veins. Feel the love, the longing, the fear in your bones. Open your heart to who you are right now. Not who you would like to be, not the saint you are striving to become, but the being right here before you, inside you, around you. All of you is holy. You are already more and less than whatever you can know. Breathe out, touch in, let go." I found a little exercise along that same idea of letting go. It was by Eckhart Tolle, and he says, and this is something you can do when you leave today. When you get in your car, shut the door and be there for just a half a minute. Breathe. Feel the energy inside your body. Look around at the sky and the trees, and your mind might tell you, "I don't have time." That's the mind talking to you. Even the busiest person has time for 30 seconds of space. So that's your assignment. When you leave here, sit in your car for 30 seconds and just be. And who knows, you might get enlightened. So it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Patti. The ticket to enlightenment is not transferable. We must do it on our own. I love it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll move on now with some more music from Warren Cox. Thank you, Warren. nice, relaxing setup for our next speaker. Reverend Joe Bull is going to deliver our ministry talk.
Oh my goodness, that music, huh?
Yeah.
The music going and the rain coming down at the same time. I'm not sure where I went during meditation, but I think I left the building for a moment. It was just incredible. Oh, so nice. I was trying to think about what I want to talk to you about enlightenment. I agree with Patti about many paths that we all must walk or do walk. Many paths, one God, as I see the world. We all get to walk our paths. I think that's fabulous that we find our connection with God's Spirit that way. Enlightenment has been talked about all this month, so I was trying to think of what I could add to that topic. To me, it means an awakening from within my inner thoughts. Sitting still and my mind opening up to new ideas and new awareness. I've had several enlightenments over my life when I think about it. It's like a discovery of something new from within our new aha revelation from deep within our minds, our soul. I've had several enlightenments over my life, in my personal life, and one of them I want to share with you is about a story about my family. Years ago, LaLonde and I adopted a already pretty much full-grown chocolate Labrador. He came from one of LaLonde's relatives, and because she just said, "I have so many dogs. Would you mind wanting him?" And he was a big old chocolate Labrador, and his name was Fudge or Fudgy. And I thought, maybe I could help change his name to sound more, majestic or tough. But no, he responded to Fudge, and that's okay. He was 115 pounds of pure love, that boy. So we took him to home. We went to the vet and got him checked out, and the vet was trying to help us estimate how old he is. And he said, "I think he's around 3 or 4 years old." We really couldn't tell by looking at the teeth, the paws, and all of that. Then we gave him a bath and all his shots, and he became, as all pets do, a family member. And so Fudge and I got to know each other, and I just love that boy. And he's a Labrador, another water dog for me to have fun with, because we had a pool. And I got into the water, and he got down into the steps, and he just stood there. And I'm going, "Come on in." And he just would not come in. So I gently grabbed his collar, and I brought him into the water. And his eyes got really big, and he was splashing up and down as if almost in a panic. I go, "Just swim. You're a water dog." And he's trying, and labs are known for being very buoyant. They float, so you can stop and just float. Not this guy. His butt went straight down like an anchor, and he was still thrashing. So I grabbed his collar and gently took him back to the steps, which he was glad to feel on his feet again. Then he got up and shook off, and he was happy again. So that was part of Fudgy with us. He was quite a character. Not too many years later, he got ill, and we had to put him down with the vet. The vet recommended that to us, and so, as with all pets, as you know, those of you who have had them, LaLonde and I took that long drive home crying and remembering Fudgy. And then 3 days later, my stepmom called me and told me that my father had died. He was battling prostate cancer for several years, and they lived out in Cedar City, Utah. So after I called her Mom Betty, after Mom Betty had told me this, I said, okay. So we started making arrangements, which we already had some things pre-planned. My dad wanted to be buried out in Dinuba with my brother, and that was his request, so that's what we did. And of course, we were looking for somebody to, lead the service for us. And my family was very intermixed about the religious beliefs and arguing about which minister they wanted to have. And Mom Betty looked at me and says, "Joe, why don't you officiate, please?" And I really didn't want to. I really just wanted to sit and just be, at the service for my dad. But I had officiated before several times for other family members, and on both my side and LaLonde's side. So I did. And so I was getting ready that morning to go and do this service. And I kid you not, I'm out back having my final cup of coffee and just enjoying the sun on my face and just spending a moment with God, just relaxing a little bit. And I saw 2 doves flying quite a bit above my head. And I thought, "Now, that's wonderful. What a beautiful sight this morning." And then they came down and they landed on both sides of my feet. I kid you not. They just sat there. And I looked at them and I smiled and I went, "Thank you, God." That was kind of a message to me that of the souls of Fudgy and my father on both sides of my feet. And that's how I saw it. And it really lifted me. That was an enlightenment for me. So, through spiritual practices, I'm always pushing you towards spiritual practices because we need to practice them daily. Pretty soon they become automatic in our lives. And through our prayers and our meditation times, it lifts us, doesn't it? When we take time to connect with Source, we actually, I think, get enlightened when we do this. Remember, when we are in prayer, we're talking to God, aren't we? God's Source. And when we are meditating, we're listening to God. Listening to God. We feel that we are becoming more aware of the spiritual self within us. Connecting more with the Spirit, the enlightenment comes over us. And for me, I feel myself slowing down in life, and smile and say, "Thank you, God, for reminding me to slow down." I was most recently talking with a relative on the phone. I texted her and I said, "Hey, you got time to talk?" And she goes, "I'll call you in about 5 minutes." And I said, "Great." So she did. And when she called, she was completely out of breath. She was just, I go, "Is this an obscene phone call or?" And she kind of chuckled. She goes, "I'm sorry, I'm just trying to slow down. I've been so busy. I've been going at it all day, and I got all of these things to do yet, even before making dinner." I said, "Okay, all right." I said, "You have time just to relax and talk?" She goes, "I do." And as we were having a conversation, I could feel her relaxing. Her breath got back to normal. And her mind opened up, and we had a really nice conversation. Again, another enlightenment for me feeling from her, because I know her very well. I know she can get very stressed when she's trying to get things done. I feel like enlightened time with somebody is something that comes over you. You feel this love, this presence from them. So it's kind of euphoric for me when I get a chance to be with someone like that and just have great discussions. There were times mentioned, I talked about you feel a true connection with each other, with Spirit in the room, so to speak, when we're having these conversations at the very same time, which reminded me that it's very possible to connect the Spirit while doing our earthly things during the day. Because years ago, I'd be so busy, I would put God basically aside, my spiritual side aside, and just get into the earthly things I need to get done. And I thought, tonight, when I'm relaxed in bed, I'll spend some time with God's Spirit. And now, I talk to God all day long. I talk to God when I'm doing chores, when I'm out visiting with people. So I started practicing this connection with Spirit, whatever I was doing and wherever I was. Today I now realize I can have both of those things at the same time, is my point to you. No separation. I had a minister that I very much respect say to us once, I was present when he said it, he says, we're all nuts. And we just looked at each other and looked at him. I thought, what do you mean we're all nuts? And he says, nuts stands for never underestimating the Spirit. I said, okay, I'm a nut. I'll take that. I'll take that. I like that very much. It's easy to remember. And the Spirit does, in fact, live within us. It also made me think of Reverend Angelo, our beloved Angie, who was the man that started the Positive Living Center here. Also the Emerson Institute. I miss him in his physical presence. He was always saying that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I always thought that was really cool. I thought that was, and that's what he said, isn't that cool? He always said, isn't that cool? And he was just an amazing soul. You could talk with him for 5 minutes and that man could lift you. No matter what was going on with you, if something was tough, he found a way to make you feel loved and better again. Great example for all of us. Enlightenment can come to us at any time. It really can. Thank you, God. It's like when I learned about the 4 stages in life that I read about years ago. That first stage being that life is, the circumstances of life is coming at me. It's all coming at me. I'm a victim of my own circumstances, feeling stuck in that. And a lot of us have been there. I know that. And then the second stage, though, is through spiritual practices, as I've said before, we realize that we are the manifestors of our lives, taking the reins in life. You know, like the tennis racket, the tennis ball I told you about? None of you remember that, do you? I thought it was brilliant. But anyway, but that manifestors in our lives where we are in charge of our lives and we're not a victim of our circumstances. And then the third stage is feeling something is operating through us, a flow state of feeling toward what we do want. That's what we talk about when we teach about prayers, that they're positive prayers. We don't talk about what we don't want, we talk about what we do want, right? And when we're doing our practices together with a minister or a practitioner, they will remind you of these things. We talk about what it is that we do want, and it comes true for us. It really does. And then there's the 4th stage in life, a state of being operating from a higher frequency of peace, joy, ease, and love, operating as us. As us. And this is where we want to be, isn't it? Right there. And we can do this. We can have this kind of life each and every day when we think about those things. Dr. Ernest Holmes on Enlightenment, he said, we don't try to change others. We pray, our prayer changes our attitude, lifts us up, and helps us see the world differently through our attitude, giving us a different attitude daily and different positive perspective. Our lives don't get better because we helped others, he says, to see things our way, or because we help them to see things like we want them to. It gets better because we changed our way of seeing everything. It begins with us. We don't try to change somebody else. William James was an American philosopher and a psychologist. And he said, if we can change our mind, we can change our lives in how we see things. It's very similar to what Dr. Holmes said, which was change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. It's such an easy thing to remember so that we can try to recall that this is what we want to do, is change our lives by how we see things. As a peace officer, when I was learning about New Thought back in the mid-'80s, late '80s, in Science of Mind, my mind started opening up at the top. The symbol of New Thought, if you look at it, it's like a V shape like this, open at the top, it says. And I learned about this from Science of Mind, of course. There's a lot of stress of being a cop on the street, as you can imagine. And I was a cop for almost 30 years. And I was looking for ideas on how to release this stress instead of having it bottled up in me. You can't walk around carrying that with you, because it will show up on you. So I meditated about that. And then it came to me, talk about enlightened. I wanted to release the stress from within me, so I decided to exercise more and more. Now, I bought a treadmill, and I ran on that thing every day, every single day. And it just felt good to get things out of me while I was also doing something good for my body. Now, I want you to know that I killed 2 treadmills. Both of them died. The engines finally died on those, and it felt like a victory. I thought, I outlived this machine. I felt like I'd really accomplished something. So that was a great thing. It was a little expensive to buy the next one I had to get, but I knocked out 2 of them. And I also lifted weights too, exercising that way. And then I decided I needed something else to get the tension out of me. So I bought myself a 70-pound punching bag, and I hung it in my garage on a hook. And I bought some small gloves to cover my knuckles. And I beat the hell out of that bag. I hit that thing until I couldn't lift my arm or one more shot. And then once I rested and felt I got my energy back, I grabbed my police baton and took that out on the bag again. And I'm telling you guys, I never felt better. I got it out of me, without hurting somebody. It was just a great idea that came to me. And I did that for years and years. I don't know how you release stress, but that's what I did. The thing is, we try to find a way to unconditionally surrender ourselves to truth, the truth within us. The power of enlightenment is to be wide open to it, so it can come to us. Because it comes from within, and maybe that light bulb comes on and go, oh, I have a new idea, a new strategy. It's an awakening and an acceptance to be open. Love is truly the motivation to discovering enlightenment. We become unattached to everything, not relying on material things or our happiness. We owe nothing, we want nothing from anyone else. We just want to be self-reliant. Self-reliant. When we get to that point in our lives, then we can share ourselves with other people, because we're ready for that. We have a gazillion thoughts go through our mind every day, don't we? They say anywhere from 65,000 to 80,000 thoughts enter our heads every day. That's a lot of noise up there. What I have learned to do is sit and let the thoughts come in and just observe them. And I let them go on by. I don't hold on to them. I don't think about it. Oh, I remember when I said this or did. I let it go by. It's just an observation, and then release it. Even the pleasant ones I had, I look at it and go, oh, I remember that. That was nice. And I let it go. And I've said, let it go many times to you guys. And that's another idea. It's just to let them go. Instead of letting it sit in your head and wait for you to acknowledge it, just let them float by. I think that's a great way of release as well. So let's live in the moment. Let's smile. And as we think Spirit for our lives, let's share that with other people. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Joe.
Thank you.
Lots of tidbits on the path to enlightenment in there. I think my favorite is the Angelo Pizzello quote of "We are all spiritual beings having a human existence." If you really just think about that,
Yes.
And quiet down with it, to slow down with it, there's enlightenment in that little nugget right there. All right, thank you. Well, let's move on to the offertory. Could I have two people come up that would take the little baskets around?
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's say the offertory prayer. Divine love
flowing through me, blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll just take this opportunity to remind people on Zoom that if you look at the eye focus, the way to make donation to the Positive Living Center is there. There is a button that you can push that says donate, and it will guide you through the process. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, I also want to remind everyone that in the back corner, in that direction, we have a frog box that is the recipient of prayer requests. There are pieces of paper and pencils there where you can write a request. And Reverend Joe, who we just heard from, collects those and also takes any other requests that are called or emailed or texted into him, and distributes that to the staff of ministers and prayer practitioners and prayer practitioner interns that are here and affiliated. And we will all make affirmative prayer for you on your behalf, addressing the issue that you've raised either in your text or email or in the frog box. So I invite you to do that. The other way is after the service today, Patti Hummel, prayer practitioner intern, will be in the back meditation room there for individual affirmative prayer if you'd like to experience that. All right, let's move into announcements. Yes, come on up. Marianne,
I have
good.
left some literature on the back table here because I'm going to do a class on human love and relationships. And I also left an outline of what the workshop might be like, so you could look at it. If it's stuff that's not interesting to you, don't sign up. But I would like you to sign up if you plan on coming, so I can know how many copies of things to make. So if you would sign in, I'd appreciate it.
When is it? When is it again?
It's on love.
No, when?
When? Good question. It's next Sunday at noon. I made it at noon so you might run out and get a cup of coffee or a donut or whatever it is that you would keep you happy or and come back. So it's at noon next Sunday, April 6th. Thank you for
All right.
asking.
Thank you. And that will be a love donation, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Other announcements? I see Reverend Judy back there, and with her eyes, she is reminding me something. I actually remember. I'll just announce that on the second Saturday of the month at 1:30, we have a Native American flute circle. 1:30 is for early learners, 2 o'clock is for all skill levels. Everybody is welcome. We have loaner flutes, and we try to have a good time just learning a very simple instrument that has a lot of places you can go with it. That goes from until 3:30, and then Reverend Judy sets up for the drum circle, which begins at 4 and goes until shortly after 5, and it is drumming and ceremony and wisdom sharing, and always an interesting experience. It's well attended, and the drumming is really fun too. So those are 2 announcements. Another announcement is that you may have seen in the iFocus a plan to have Jennifer Moss here on Fridays, Friday afternoons, performing with her crystal bowls. That she has decided not to do that. That is being canceled for the time being. There's another person who's interested in doing that, so that's being worked on at the moment. So don't come April 4th expecting crystal bowls. Any other announcements?
I just want to bring up the class that's going to be starting April 13th. It's going to be Sacred Agreements. We'll be working from the 4 agreements for a 5-week course. And because of holidays, Easter, Mother's Day, Memorial Day, we'll have 2 classes, only 2 classes in April, 2 classes in May, and then 1 in 1st of June. So just to let you know, it'll be not consecutive, but we'll get all of those classes together, and you're welcome to come. I hope that you can make it, and there is a sign up in the back of the room.
What time does that start?
It'll be 11:30 to 1:30 on Sundays, unless we change based on the people who are participating to a more convenient time.
All right. Any other announcements?
You know I'm gonna go for it. I know it's tiring. I get tired too. So I just got back from Ramadan. The Eid al-Fitr, which is the end of Ramadan, the fasting of Ramadan, and all our people came from Mohammed Tafur, who's representing our hydrogen project. He's been in the Middle East for the last couple months, since we can't really do business here in environmental technology. We're going to the cradle of civilization, and so he came back and helped us figure out, and we made a bunch of agreements, which is scary to actually commit in paper for their and things have changed. And so anyways, I just hope we can honor this beautiful man who has developed this way of taking carbon out of the atmosphere and putting it in the ground and making nutrients. But also, I was all set to go down to Ramadan, this celebration, and my beekeeper was going to come and put 20 hives in our Paulownia grove. You've all had the flowers and the honey. And he called me up and he said, I just can't do this. And so I go, but I'm leaving, we've already. But anyway, so I found another beekeeper. He's supposed to come in the next couple of days. So if we could put it in mind to get those bees out into the Paulownia trees and the flowers which are starting to bloom, that would be great. And perhaps everything's starting to bloom. And when it seems a little bleak in these times, the transition from winter and fall to spring, like today, it starts raining and nourishing us for the sunlight and the growth of the plants. So put it in mind, please, because I'm a little bit just hanging there in the middle of the universe on this little blue ball. And yeah, that's all. Thanks.
All right. Well, let me remind you that next week our speaker will be our very own Reverend L.J. Bull. So hope everybody can make that. So what we'll do now is have a final song from Warren and then a prayer, and we'll wrap it up. Lovely music today. Reverend LaLonde, would you come give us our final prayer?
so grateful for the enlightenment that showed up today, for any expanding awareness, any spaciousness, any peace, any grace, any good, any openness, any new understanding. It's all from the grace of this life being itself as each of us. And boy, have I experienced it today through each of you. And through this magnificent host who says, don't put me on the schedule. Because he's got plenty to do in making gorgeous music for us and being who he is. I am so grateful for everyone. Have a glorious week. Namaste.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody for coming today. Go forth and have a good week as a spiritual being.
Yes.
What a great service. It was lovely, Joe Bull.
Wasn't that nice?
It was great.